Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today I'm doing a flip through of my latest 6x6 journal that I've just finished. So the cover was made by printables from Little Raven Ink on one of her Patreons, and she does free printables every month, and I just love her collage designs, and just putting them over my journals makes them fun to work in. I want to pick them up, so that's from Little Raven Ink, and I'll leave the link to her Patreon site in the description box below. So I love working these little journals. They're much smaller than I tend to work, but I like them because they're really quick and easy to complete, and you know, you can do something really simple and have fun with it. So this is just a bit of book page, a stamp over some collage tissue, and a little bit of the collage collective put together just to do the front page. So really simple, didn't take very long to do, but I really love the simplicity of it. This is a printable from Little Raven Ink as well, just onto a stenciled background, and the quote, "You're bigger than what's making you anxious." I find Little Raven Ink's little characters that she draws really speaks to me, sort of about my mental health and so on, and just her characters kind of sum up my emotions sometimes. So I tend to have, when I'm having not a bad day, but if I'm having a day that I need to sort of consider things or do something, I tend to resort to using some of her little characters. This was a page that I think was inspired by Carissa from Jumpstart 2020. It was about doing some journaling in the background with scribble sticks and wiping it out and then doing some work over the top. And the thing I really loved about it is this is the first page I actually really had success with the scribble sticks, using them dry and then activating them afterwards. And I've since learnt that I was never putting enough pressure down when I was writing. So actually writing in the background, I was obviously using pressure to write, so I laid down enough scribble stick to get colour off them. So I was really pleased with that. And again, white space doesn't happen very often. This page was, I had a bit of FOMO. I saw that James Luke Burke had got some Hydra watercolour paints, which are handmade paint, and they just had an amazing shimmer to them. So I don't know if you can see that, and I just wanted to play with it. So I don't tend to swatch, but I did in this because this is quite thick watercolour paper, and it was the only watercolour paper I had. And then I did this page. Again, this is based on Little Raven Ink. That's one of her printables here, and then I've painted the background. But the artwork itself is based on a piece of artwork she had, which I just loved, and it was simple shapes that I could play around with. So I do have a video on this on my channel. This again was a really simple page. I had leftover inks and I did some mark making in the background, used one of the Dina Wakley chipboards, and I had a quote that I popped onto it. This is an image transfer that I did, a gesso image transfer, and this is going to be coming up on the Artful Academy. If you're one of their members, you will there will be a class on how this page was made. This was playing around with the gloss, Dina Wakley gloss sprays, and I just loved this effect. I love the drippage in it. I really enjoy how they play off against each other, and you can get these really cool sort of graffiti effects in the background. So that was just me having fun. This is a page done for my Scrap FX design team, and it was a steampunk month. So got this cool little die cut that I decided to make a window out of, using their stamps and so on in the background, and then you've got the two pages which works together. So again, there's a video of this up on my channel, but I really like this little book because it's so sturdy. The pages are so sturdy. It's great for making cut pages because they're going to hold together for it. This book then sat dormant for a long time. I didn't actually pick it up again until March, so the last few pages I've actually done quite quickly, but it was funny because I used these pages a lot and then I didn't touch it for a little while. So this is, again, I did this page after watching the Dina daily demos in March on scribble sticks, and it was that laying down the colour again, spritzing with them in the background and using my favourite stencil. And it was feel what you need to feel, then let it go, do not let it consume you, because obviously, as you are well aware, there's a lot happening in the world at the moment, so that sort of summed up my day. This page was done after I got the new colours of the gloss sprays, and I really like the page. I love this. This page didn't work as well as I wanted it to, but it sort of pulled itself together in the end. That does say still. I know it doesn't look like it on the camera, but it says life still happens. And I just love that family grouping. So yeah, that was fun. This, however, is one of my favourite pages. This is done for the Scrapping Clearly Cybercrop, for one of their challenges, and the challenge was to use this quote: you can't use up creativity, the more you use, the more you have. And it was me playing around with really watery watercolors, acrylic paints in the background to get that really flowy spread, and then just doing some simple mark making over the top, using the Stilo Brillo oil pencil sort of to do crazy scribbling in the background, and then I used those lines to write in the quote. So it was just really freeing to do. It was a very quick page to do, and I just love the colour combination on it. This page again was done for the Cybercrop challenge, and the challenge was you had to use printed tissue paper, patterned paper, string, stamps, and paint. So I've got the printed tissue in the background, paint is obviously over it, some stamping in the background, and I used my collage tissues that have been released by Scrap FX as a pattern paper, and I was really struggling to work out how to use a string, and because we're doing, particularly in the midst, doing this page, we're in the midst of social distancing and couldn't go and see Gran, I decided to connect everyone with a string, which I actually really loved the concept of this page and the quote: even though we're far apart, we're bound by love. And as soon as I did this page, I sent it to my mum and made her burst into tears, so it obviously hit the mark. So yeah, that was a really cool page. This page again was done for the Cybercrop, so I had a very busy weekend, and because I wanted to work quickly, I chose this journal, so I was able to get quite a few things done quite quickly. This was working in black and white, and I decided to do an image transfer on it, which didn't particularly work very successfully. The image transfer is actually this big, but basically you can see 2.5 faces in the end. So I just covered the rest of it up with the different bits and pieces. I still quite like it, but it didn't quite work the way I intended it to. This page I had lots of fun with, but it did take a little bit of thinking to work out how this was going to work. So behind every mouse there's a face, and behind that a story. So I had this idea that I wanted to do a lace cut page to work interactively with a stamp behind it. Now the struggle with that is you do need to do a little bit of planning of how you're actually going to support your cut pieces to the edge of your page. And little confession here, I did do it once and it didn't quite work, so I had to cut that page out, which is a little bit frustrating, but I did get it to work in the end, and I'm really pleased that you get that mask effect and it still works with her neckline and so on, so it all lines up. And then when you turn it over, you've got the painted face there. And again, this background piece is one of my collage tissues from Scrap FX, so all the writing and stuff on that is all there, and the pattern making. So it's a really quick and easy way to get a busy background without actually doing anything too complicated. This page is a page done for a Scrap FX design team, and it's inspired by the page back here, wherever it is. So it's very similar to this page. But I like the idea of these cathedral windows, and that's, you know, windows are the eyes of the soul, quote, sort of tying it all together. So I've got the windows and sort of seeing what's happening behind. Again, I'm using some of my papers in the background to just add some contrast to the page. But I hadn't used, in January I used my gloss sprays all the time and got really good at them. And I haven't used them regularly after that, so I wanted to break them out and really have a go at them. And again, I really wanted to play with that drippage, so they worked really well for this. This page again was sort of inspired by the page back here, but just playing in a different color scheme. So this is using marine sky perhaps, or turquoise, and lime, with fuchsia as the contrast color. And again, it's just getting back into that freedom of making the page really wet so the paint flows. And the beautiful thing about the Dina Wakley paint is because it's so heavily pigmented, you can see the pigment, how it flows out into the water. So you get the benefit of similar to a watercolor effect, but it's permanent and you can do stuff over the top of it, which I really like. This page was an image transfer I did of myself, and then I did some ghosting technique around it, and then I actually overpainted it with scribble stick. The image transfer worked okay, but there was a few gaps in it, and I was just playing around and having a bit of a go, and I actually like how kind of painterly it looks. Having the transfer there to begin with gives you a really good base to work with, and because it's sort of translucent, you can add media over the top. It looks kind of pink because in the background I actually had a pink wash on it from leftover from this paint in the background. And what I didn't realize was when I did an image transfer, I actually used gel medium. So the transfer worked fine, but actually I could see that undertone colour coming through, which I didn't particularly want. So I then went over the scribble sticks to try and kill that colour a little bit, and did some mark making over the top. But I really like the quote. This is from A Night by Marlene. Sticker book, putting emotion into your artwork is what makes a picture a painting. And I think putting yourself into your art journal makes that as well. So this page was done for a live class I did from Picture to Page Craft, which you can Picture to Paper Craft channel with Michelle Brown, which I'll leave a link to the video in the description box below. It was lots and lots of fun. I did two pages in 30 minutes, and this is one page. It's really simple, but I actually really loved how simple it was. The only thing I went back and added, because it's me, is I had this cut out denim star, and I actually really liked how the denim picks up some of the blues in the background, so it sort of just balanced it off. And again, the two quotes in these pages sort of work together, which I really like. This last page was just lots of fun playing with mark making, and I've been really trying to push myself out of my normal colour schemes that I've been using, I suppose, and try some different ones. So there's lots and lots of Instagram. I see beautiful colour schemes, and I've been making a real effort to actually try and replicate them. So this one's using Sedona, cheddar, sand, and some turquoise. So those analogous colours in the background, and then the turquoise is the contrast. And I really loved how it came together. It's very not me, but I actually really love it. And I like the quote, embrace change, on it, because I was embracing change of a different colour scheme. This final page was a gel print I did. It's using some stencils from Stencil Girl. And I just tore it up and cut it out so it fitted into my back page with the quote, don't remember yourself for who you were, remind yourself of who you've become. You need to grow up to become yourself. And as I've said before in my art journals, I like on the last page of the art journal just to have something to motivate me onto the next art journal. And I can see throughout this change and growth within my art. If you sort of look sort of at the beginning to at the end, I can see a bit of a change in how I've gone, and I like that. So I'm looking forward to getting into my new journal, but yeah, so this is the final journal. There'll be lots of videos of some of these pages coming up still, so keep an eye out for those. But thank you very much for watching, and hope you enjoyed the flip through my journal. Until next time, bye for now.